Background info: my Mill has never liked me because she's always believed that I am not good enough for her son and because I have different religious beliefs. My hubby and I married 3 years ago, and in this time my Mill has been verbally offensive to me countless times, but I normally brush it off for the sake of my hubby. What happened? It was our son's first birthday yesterday and we invited the family round for a party to celebrate. Mill showed up drunk and I told her that she couldn't drink anymore until the party was over. She complained to my hubby, who then gave her a gin and tonic because it was a celebration, and from there she steadily drank more and more. When she started grabbing my son and threatening to take him away from me, I immediately took him away, at which point my Mill punched me in the stomach. My husband did nothing and insisted it didn't matter because she was drunk and didn't mean it. At the time, I didn't want to make a fuss because I wanted our son to enjoy his birthday, but later I told my husband that his mother's behavior was unacceptable and he promised to make her apologize. The kicker? She didn't apologize, and he doesn't seem to take it seriously that she punched me. It wasn't a soft punch. It was a full force, venomous punch that I now have a bruise as a result. How do I deal with a spineless husband and mean Mill? Throw away because some of my family have read it and I would prefer them to not hear the story if possible. Originally posted in relationships. Edit: I am currently on my way to my brother's house with my son. I have decided that for tonight at least I need some space. I will file a report immediately tomorrow morning and proceed from there. Thank you for everything. Edit: I have filed a report. My brother took me straight to the police station and I have now filed against her. Edit: I am getting a lawyer first thing tomorrow morning and will proceed from there. I am seriously thinking about a divorce. TL, DR, my Mill punched me at my son's birthday and my husband doesn't seem to care. How can I get him to deal with his mother? So, I'm currently in the process of filing for a divorce from my husband, and the police have pressed charges against my soon-to-be ex-Mill. It has been a hectic, scary time, but I've been so lucky to have everyone here who helped me into making the right decision. It's a tough time and likely to get even tougher with the custody battle, but at the moment I've been granted primary custody of my son and there's a restraining order against my Mill. It hurts to think that my soon-to-be ex wouldn't even stand up for me, but I feel freer than I was before. My son misses his dad and I miss him too. I miss the man I thought he was. But, it needs to be done for my son. My ex turned offensive. I'm currently living at my brother's at the moment and left without informing him, which I'm so glad I did because he went to my sister's house and threatened her. He was apparently screaming before he turned up at my brother's and started demanding our son. He punched my brother and I called the police. He's now no longer allowed to be near me or our son until we've seen a judge about working out custody. My lawyer thinks I've got a pretty good chance at gaining sole custody after the offensive nature of X was shown, in addition to the texts and bruise I had from Mill. I'm hoping it can be resolved relatively soon so that my son and I can make a new start away from him and Mill. Thank you for all your support. I really need somewhere to vent, and I don't have any friends of my own to talk to, so I will post here. I have had a tough life. I was raised by offensive, narcissistic parents, and went through trauma that I would never wish on anyone else. At around 23, after being held practically captive by my family, I ran away and started a new life several states away. I met my future husband shortly after while he was volunteering at the homeless shelter I was staying in. A month later, we moved in together. 3 months after that, we got married. My husband, whom I will call Jerry, not his real name, is a successful surgeon and makes a lot of money, has a nice home, etc. I barely graduated high school, and can't get any jobs above part-time retail level. Despite this, he seems to love me. My in-laws, his parents, brother, and sister, were not thrilled by me from the get-go. I could tell they thought I was trash by the way they looked at me, and treated me with a certain coldness. They were upper middle class, and were living fruitful lives. Jerry confided in me that they were worried I was a gold digger, and was just using him to squeeze alimony out of him. During a lunch I shared with his mother, I told her that she didn't need to worry, I loved her son and he is the best friend I ever had. She sneered at me, and responded that I was looking for more than just friendship. Things never got better. When we got married, it was at a courthouse, by ourselves. I didn't want to invite my family, and they likely wouldn't come anyway, and his refused to attend any wedding between us. I had and still have no real friends, and his were busy at work. He distanced himself from his family at first, and we settled into a nice married life. I eventually got pregnant, and had a daughter together. At this point, The in-laws wanted back into our lives. I decided to give them a chance, mostly because I want to feel normal and have a nice family life, and I want to provide that to my child as well. In-laws would typically ignore me during visits, doting on my daughter instead. I decided that to live with this. My daughter is now 3 years old. Recently, we gathered for a dinner at the in-laws' home, and they invited Jerry's ex-girlfriend over, and began to force some sort of date between them. Jerry and I were quickly angered by this. I took my daughter, and decided to storm out. My Mill tried to take my daughter out of my arms, shrieking, "You can go, but my granddaughter is staying here." At one point, she called me a jagged-toothed promiscuous woman, prompting my other in-laws and Jerry's ex to laugh, which angered me enough to toss my daughter onto the couch, not a hard throw at least, and punch my Mill in the face. I feel ashamed I did this. I never get violent, but her words made me feel so disgusted and worthless, similar to how my own family made me feel. The police came over, and I got arrested for simple physical attack. Mill was pushing for child endangerment because I tossed my child onto the couch. It didn't happen. Jerry has been angry at me over both hitting his mother and throwing our daughter. He wants to separate for a time being and move in with his family, along with our daughter. I pleaded that he not do that, though his mind seems set on it. I just feel like garbage. I feel like I ducked up my marriage, and maybe even my relationship with my daughter. I don't know what to do, and maybe I do deserve this over my actions. I just have no idea what to do at this point or how to feel. This happened in the summer of 2008, right after I'd turned 19. My FDH was 20, and Mill was 39. FDH had very recently moved back in with his mom and little brother, 10 years old at the time. FDH had been living at my parents' house with me for 2 years prior. That'll be a story for another day. FDH and I had been going through a rough time since he moved back in with his mom and officially broke up for 3 months. I was very annoyed at him for moving back in with her, and he was being a douche. His attitude and personality are highly influenced by her. FDH and I both dated other people, even though we were still pairing off just about every night. I was still on speaking terms with Mill and even babysat for full. Okay, on the night in question. I had been hanging out with friends at their house and we had a couple beers, when I get a text from FDH to come over and that he wanted to see me. I had a little buzz at this point and decided to walk over to his mom's townhouse that was only about 2 blocks over. It wasn't even 10 p.m. at this point. These townhouses were very new and very nice, and there were only about 25 units at the time. This is how they were set up. The townhouses were 3 stories tall, with the garage being on the bottom floor. When I got there, it looked like there was a little party going on. The garage door was open at Mill's house and I could see into it from the street. The neighbors across the street had come over with some friends and they were drinking liquor and had some music playing. My FDH is passed out on the couch in the garage, completely crap-faced. I walked up to the garage door when the neighbors see me and say hey. Mill looks up and sees me and she's very obviously drunk. This is when crap hit the fan. This isn't verbatim BC, it was so long ago, but the gist of the conversation, she stands up and says, "What the duck are you doing here?" I replied, "FDH invited me to come over. He doesn't want to see you. You broke up with him." She screams at me. "I know that," I say, "but you know we're still working on things." He sent me a text asking me to come over. Look. As I was looking down and reaching for my phone, this bee hauls off and slaps me across the face. My glasses went flying and I just saw red. I immediately grabbed her by the hair and yanked her head down and started just punching her with everything I had. I was holding her down and punched her in the back of the head and ripped out some of her hair. I punched her in the cheek as she was trying to grab me and throw me off balance. I had already hit her about 5 or 6 times when FDH comes out of nowhere and breaks us up. She falls on her bottom and I'm still seeing red and breathing heavy through angry tears. He yells at his mom to go inside and then starts asking me what the duck happened. He's drunk and I'm standing there livid and unable to see because my glasses are still missing after Mill hit them off my face. I yelled at him, "She hit me. Where the duck are my glasses?" Mill went to sit in the garage and yells that I need to leave. I said, "There's no way I can go anywhere because my glasses are missing." She says, "I will call the cops if you don't leave now." I busted out laughing at her and said, "Haha. Yeah, that's a great idea. You can explain to them why your underage son is completely wasted and why you attacked me in the street." That shut her up real quick. Turned out that my glasses were tangled in Mill's hair, which was hilarious because I had to make her sit her down to untangle them. Once I got them back, I begrudgingly apologized for punching Mill after she said sorry for slapping me and that she didn't mean to. Yeah, right, crazy bee. She was just scared that I could press charges if I wanted to because she hit me first, and I had a black eye for my glasses when she slapped me. I also had 3 witnesses who saw her attack me in the street. Mill goes upstairs to bed, the neighbors leave, and FDH and I sit and talk about what happened and some other unrelated issues. I ended up spending the night and went home after Mill left the next morning.